I was not expecting to well up in the middle of this conversation. I thought I have overcome this. As much as I feel like there have been many challenges for me personally, overcoming the way I look or the way others look at me has always been a very big sort of thing in my head.
And in those days, for us, it was all about achievements. It was more about what character I was. Our parents used to sort of keep on banging on our head. Hey, gandi aadat mein mat ghuso, ye mat karo, wo mat karo. And the focus was totally different.
If I have to put it in one line, the fact that I was always larger and taller than most other girls, or especially most other girls my age, would make me feel not seen, would make me feel not heard.
I think that Jab We Met dialogue works here too.
Knowing that you are the main character or the lead role in your life makes you sort of overcome all these other things as well.
It brings
Laughter echoes, hearts collide. Wisdom shared.
Hi, I'm Divya, and that's my Boomer Dad Rajan.
Hi.
And together, the Boomer and Millennial are going through life's various beats, our experiences, and eventually how we found hope. Today, for me in particular, is both exciting and difficult, but eventually is sort of a means to many ends for me. Today, we're going to talk about one of the hardest journeys I've personally had and continue to have, is that of self-image. Dad, when I think about the fact that I've put myself on camera, I feel like I've already done one level of crossing that point of being of my shape, size, but being comfortable in front of the camera, or at least so I hope. And we started this podcast also with the endeavor to be able to share our challenges, hopefully help others share theirs,
Yeah.
and in effect overcome not just certain hurdles that people might think they are facing, for us as well. I feel like this is turning into one sort of almost catharsis, deeply therapeutic, but at the same time very insightful and meaningful for us as well. Um, this is going to be a tough one for me, so I'm going to sort of let you take the lead on.
So what you're talking about, your self-image.
Yeah, that's why I'm already feeling the discomfort.
finding
I'm
it-
wearing all black.
You're finding it difficult even to verbalize the subject.
Yeah, it's a hard one because this, I think, has been, as much as I feel like there have been many challenges for me personally, overcoming the way I look or the way others look at me has always been a very big sort of thing in my head.
But that's been for your generation. For my generation, and especially because I'm from the male gender,
Yeah.
it was not an issue in those days. Okay, and the way we were brought up or the kind of environment we were in, we were not being judged too much, and we were not in everybody's eye. There was no social media, cameras were not there, mobile phones were not there. For us, our self-image, body image, whatever you might want to call it, frankly, we never used to think about it. To be very frank with you,
Yeah.
the amount of struggle that I saw you just trying to announce the topic actually brought to the fore. Is it? It was. I missed this totally. Let me say that.
Really?
No, not from.
I don't think you missed it.
I didn't miss it, but I didn't think it was such a big one.
Yeah.
It was. I knew it was big for your generation, but so big, I didn't know why. Because it's a real contrast as far as where I come from, especially the being a male in the society. And in those days, for us, it was all about achievements. It was more about what character I was. Our parents used to sort of keep on banging on our head. Hey, gandi aadat mein mat ghuso, ye mat karo, wo mat karo. And the focus was totally different.
Yeah.
Priorities were totally different. Maybe if you talk to your mom,
Yeah.
she might be able to give you a different idea how it was for her
Yeah.
from the female side. But being a male, it was all about achievements. It was all about what I'm making of my life. And but I guess it's different for the male in today's society.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
social media, judgmental. Everybody wants to be looking good
Yeah.
every minute of the day.
Yeah.
In our case, it was all about college, studies, do your work, get moving, get a great job, or start a business. It was more to make things happen.
But it was more a combination in your case of technology and means, right? Money also was not, disposable income was not that
Yes.
easily
No,
available back
it was
then.
not. It was
Correct.
not. We had very limited pocket money.
Yeah,
So
and
even if I wanted to spend on buying a new
yeah,
set of clothes, I frankly could not.
yeah,
Also, availability was an issue.
correct.
We used to have this, I don't know whether you remember, we used to have this great things, hey, imported stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. ये imported हुआ, ये
ये
अमेरिका
imported
से
है.
import हुआ है.
And I still
Or
remember.
those sailor jeans that used to come in
Yeah.
bulk.
So all that has changed today, right? I mean, how I looked also was on the what clothes I wear, but
Yeah.
what clothes I wear also was on the basis of the clothes I could buy.
Correct.
In India, in my budget.
Yeah.
Aha, those are challenges. Okay.
I think it's different in many ways, but the fact that our genders are of
Yeah.
a different
That's
kind
the-
has a major impact on the discomfort you felt.
No, but
was,
I've had cousin sisters.
Yeah.
Okay. I may not have had a sister, but I have had a cousin sister. And even your mom, I mean, today, we were not brand conscious.
Yeah.
Your mom and I are not brand conscious even today.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just being with your mom, seeing my sisters, yes, clothes was priority, but not so much of a priority that you got hung up on it.
I think a bit of that, clothes is a very small part of body image or self-image. I think the fact that I was already predisposed to looking a certain shape and size. I've always been a tall girl with broad shoulders and broad hips.
Thanks to me.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not.
Thanks to the genes.
And which is okay. It's not something I can control. Of course, I can control how large and small I get. And that's also been something that I've struggled with for a large part of my life. And the struggle still continues. But to understand what that meant came from a very visceral early memory, which was, if you ask me to go back to it, to me it is mom making sure that I'm always dressed well or well turned out for, say, a family function. It was very important that I didn't go looking like one, like street child or someone who's just woken out of bed, worn her pajamas and gone, which honestly today I would very much consider doing. But back then, even to do like a family lunch or a family dinner, needed looking a certain way.
Because those were the big events, right?
Correct. The other thing is comparison. Because I also had a sister who was more on the leaner side. A lot of my cousins were also on the leaner side. And I feel like being large, being fat, being bigger than everyone else was always looked at as a bad thing. Because, I mean, as crude as it may sound, but moti ladki se shaadi kaun karega? It actually boiled down to just that for the women, for a large part of our lives. Because as we've established in our previous conversations also, we are one of the few families that sort of laid emphasis on personal growth, on growing your personality. Had I been born in a family where looks and presentation was all that mattered, I don't think that I would have had the means to grow my personality. Education, career opportunities were means to grow my personality. If I have to put it in one line, the fact that I was always larger and taller than most other girls, or especially most other girls my age, would make me feel not seen, would make me feel not heard. Because I think very early on, I realized that I was being trained to address a gaze of a woman from a man's perspective. And funnily enough, to fulfill that role, women become each other's worst enemies.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't think, I mean, for me, even then, I used to ask mom all these questions. How does it matter? But it never was one of those scenarios where I was explained that this means this, right? It didn't get to that place. I was always in that warring situation, which is why this is one of those things which has been difficult. But at the same time, when I saw you look at me, I don't think I ever saw you look at me for my size, big, small, anything. You complimented me if I was in great shape. You would make sure considered going to work out if I was not in great shape, because it for you it came from the perspective of health. It didn't come from the perspective of how she's looking vis-a-vis how she'll appeal to other men, whether that is prospective men to marry or date or whatever. So it all came down to that, which wasn't the case for someone like you, because A, you were already in that space of having to figure out money, family, all that stuff. But to you, do you feel like for you, the women in your life made you realize the importance of self image, or it's something that you grew and independently understood as time went by?
No, I mean, I think for I don't know. This is very individual and very
Yeah.
personal, and I hail from a family what we call khate pite ka family.
Yeah, yeah. Food is a
That's not
very
it.
big part of our bonding.
Correct.
So for us, that I think it's different for different people, but food also, your relationship with food is determined by what energy it
So
gives you.
we actually understood in our family that this has connection to our body,
Yeah.
our body image, our shape
Yeah.
and size.
Yeah.
So I never, it never, and also because as I said, judgmental, being of the gender, it was one factor whenever you looked at somebody but some of the other tended not to get judgmental.
Yeah.
It was not. It's
But
not
dad, you
the,
had bigger fish to fry, yaar.
yeah, probably. And what you said is right, that we had other things to do and more important things to do. But this does become an issue, and just like, I mean, you have had those challenges and have had to deal with it. It's not been, so that with me, that's not been a situation whether for myself, although I am also not on the slimmer side, I am more than healthy, as if you call it that. And I've never been slim either. But at some points of life, I have, but then post 40s, I've tended to be roundish, or
Yeah.
I've had more weight than normally prescribed. It's not been a challenge for me
Yeah.
in that respect. So, in a way, you could say it's been easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess with the male gender today and the guys of today,
No, but it's not the case for men today.
okay, even today.
Especially today, because even they have to look a certain way to now appeal to a certain kind of
No,
woman.
that's what I meant. So
yeah.
it's irrespective of gender.
Yeah.
So let me come back and say, ask, how do you deal with this? For me, this is something which I'm not faced. For me, this is something which I don't have a experience to
Yeah.
relate to.
I think to me, obviously, the cornerstone of that was comparison always, because I had a younger sister who didn't have a weight problem. I did. I grew up always believing courtesy, sometimes things that mom and grandmom would say. Not to say that I hold it against them today. Of course, I've taken time to heal that trauma because it was a trauma in my
I'm
life.
sure it was.
But I don't hold it against them anymore because they didn't know any better, right? To them, if you think about it, the way Granny got her niece married was an outcome of survival. That time it was not the possibility of a woman standing on her own 2 feet and commanding her own choices was less than prevalent that time. Today, opportunity exists, education exists, knowledge exists, so you're able to carve your own path a certain way. Back then, if you didn't fit the boundaries of what is accepted standards of beauty or traditional idea of what granny would say, Suini Sutti Chokri, right? Or someone once told us when we went to meet her for Rishta, she was one of the matchmakers, and she says, I only deal with LPG girls, Lambi Patli Gori. We've heard all this. This is real. So it's not one of the things that is not prevalent in our society. So you dealt with it at different points in different ways.
So what are among the way? I mean, how do you deal with this? I mean, how do you?
Oh, initially by screaming, shouting, crying, not understanding why I was in those situations, and wondering if there was ever a way out. Um, I think the first time I lost a significant amount of weight was just in pure revenge. Because I said, I'm going to show people what I'm made of, not realizing that I'm putting my body through a hell of a lot. And it's not a, today at 40, I can say that there is something called sustainable lifestyle, sustainable way of managing your weight. Back then, everything was crash diets, hectic workouts. I think every major diet known to mankind I've done. General Motors, Atkins, 1 meal a day, everything. I've done everything. To ultimately get to a place that something you understand and you read more and you explain to yourself about what certain kinds of food, nutrition and exercise can do to your body. That's education. That comes later. But dealing with it was always a hard one. And I remember going through the motions of life, yo-yoing with my weight all through. I don't think I've ever been at a point where for more than 2 years I've been a certain size. I've gone up, down, up, down. And every time, even shopping would feel like an ordeal. I remember there was a phase in my life where I was my largest. I stopped shopping because despite being someone who, like you've always said, I liked the finer things in life. I liked the brands. I liked the way certain things looked. Um, I didn't find joy in shopping anymore because I didn't find things my size. And everything that was my size looked like bags. Um, and I think that was also a really big clincher for women that time. Today, they are styling for bodies of all kinds. Today, body positivity is a real concept. Today, we are celebrating women with all kinds of bodies. We're celebrating women with their curves. We're celebrating men also with all kinds of bodies. No one is getting into that space anymore because today you're learning to own who you are. But we were not taught this. This was not our
So
learning.
I think that's really what I mean. Hearing you talk made me ask a question. Isn't it important for every individual to build his inner sense or inner balance? And the worst part is, in a way, which we always say, we are never taught this.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is among the most basic strengths.
Yeah.
Or you could, I don't know whether it's a strength, but it should be basic nature.
Yeah.
Okay, that families especially teach, or there should be some way of getting of somebody. And you also mentioned other parts of your personality. Personality is no longer restricted to or limited to the way you look and the way you dress.
Yeah.
It's more important parts, and especially from a gender, for your gender, uh, uh, other parts have come up, whether it is achievements, education,
Yeah.
things you can do beyond, far and beyond just a basic female role as
Yeah.
was defined by society earlier. So I think, but it still will come back to the search for self.
Pa, it's very simple. We are sitting in this podcast at the moment. I have makeup on, I have done hair. You
Yeah.
have done none of
Nothing.
that. You've just combed your hair, washed your face, and sat down.
Yeah.
So, there is a difference in the standards of a male gaze and a female gaze. There is a difference. I'm not saying the difference is how much validation you personally gain from it. There is a certain amount of validation that you do seek. I am wearing the clothes I'm wearing because I'm hoping that I do look nice through this process. Not because I'm trying to catch someone's attention, but just so that it is also an expression of who I am. I wore clothes to cover my body at one point, to cover my flaws. Today, I wear clothes that represent my personality. That's the growth I have sort of been able to have. And that's not come easy. It's come with a lot of trial and error. It's come with a lot of learning. It's also come with a lot of struggle, but it's also come with what you put in your system. The fact that I was not feeling seen and heard, as I mentioned earlier, made sure that that I developed a smart intellect to be a smart-mouthed, opinionated woman. The fact that
That you always were.
because I didn't feel heard, I became louder with my opinions. I wanted to make sure I was heard. It was all coming from this place. Not feeling seen is why my dressing evolved into this really sort of out there, outlandish style, which out of everyone in our house, no one has. But when here therapy or self reflection or faith or spirituality or introspection, very simply, helps you look at the situation from
What
the
about
other
family
side.
and friends?
I was just coming to that. Um, I don't think I shared a lot of my journey with my weight so much with my mum. I think my sister and I had an unsaid sort of explanation and understanding of that. You and I never really gotten into discussing this in particular because it wasn't something that we lent so much importance to in our relationship. You actually made me realize that the concept that beauty, that people say beauty is not just skin deep. Beauty is having a beautiful mind, beautiful heart, beautiful actions, beautiful orientation to where you want your life to go. I could have chosen to have this become my um, biggest crutch, that for the rest of my life I'm going to live in the trauma of the fact that I didn't get treated right because I was fat. But I don't. I own who I am today because a lot of that support came from you guys. I don't even think that you thought that. So to me, the importance of that reduced over time.
I'm sure friends too.
Friends actually
Few of them.
came from a place of support.
Okay.
For example, if I'm going through an experience of a bad diet, having giving me a crash afterwards and how to recover, then my friends would sit me down and be like, I don't think you need to put your body through so much. It also was a truth that in my growing up years, a lot of my friends dated very early in life. I didn't. Because again, I felt that because I looked a certain way, no one wanted to come up and ask me out or wanted to come up and say something complimentary to me. So it all very weirdly made me, it's almost like all that hurt, pain, trauma, I converted into an armor, became a smart ass, became opinionated, became almost what people called intimidating. Because I was actually trying to protect all
Sure.
what
Yeah.
was hurting inside.
Correct, correct.
Okay, I was not prepared.
Yeah, but the key is really to, as I was saying earlier, to build self value.
Yeah.
And I think this is something which I've always told both of you, that y'all are here with a unique role to play. You've sort of come into existence to play a unique role,
Yeah.
a role which is totally designed for you. Now you got to find that one. You got to find your inner place, and you got to get going and keep at it, because
Oh, of course, because
it never comes easy.
I was not expecting to well up in in the middle of this conversation.
Yeah.
I thought I have overcome this. But of course, it's like saying sometimes when you get burnt,
The scar still remains.
scar is there, na? So sometimes if it's itched too much and it's irritated too much, it is bound to spark you. But today I don't get that bothered. And the fact that I had the opportunity with courtesy my family to be able to grow emotionally, mentally, in my abilities, I found excitement in other interests. I found things like films, music, dance as a fantastic way of sort of expression. Fashion expression came much later. Over time, that changed.
Yeah, so
That
it's like
became
redefining yourself.
correct. And even today, I'm sitting here, we are having this conversation on a podcast where we're talking about the journeys we've both had as people. But at the core of it, what you said is that purpose of and knowing that I'm here for a certain special part. So is my sister, so are you, so is what we feel our closest ecosystem is. We have a role to fulfill. We have a place that we stand in our society.
I think that Jab We Met dialogue works here too.
That's true. I mean, I feel like the knowing that you are the main character or the lead role in your life makes you sort of overcome all these other things as
Yeah,
well.
it brings you to the bottom line, as you call it, out
Yeah,
of the
and
top.
there is that faith and hope are interconnected. If you have faith, now here I'm talking about faith in yourself, faith in your abilities, faith in who you are as a person, and faith in what you can contribute to people and the world, you'll always have hope. I remember when we discussed this podcast for the first time, you asked me what prompted this. Actually, body image was and self image was the biggest prompt to want to do this. Because today, that is the one thing that people feel most hopeless about. We all have days and moments where the idea of finding hope in your self image feels like zero. But there will be a bright and sunny morning tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
Today might feel like a dark, gloomy night, but there is a bright and sunny tomorrow, which might give you prospect of something you've not thought of. And by sharing it with people who you know are going to see that in you or see that value in you, and sharing it with others who might not be able to express it themselves, is going to ensure that the hope is not just a you and me phenomenon. Hope becomes an everyone
Everybody.
phenomenon. I don't think I want to live in a world where there is no hope. I don't think I govern my life with a lack of hope. I don't think you do either. And I hope that no one else does. I know we've gone through some beats which we didn't expect to go. And again, for this one, there's so much more we can get into, so much more we can talk. Hopefully, we'll find a way to have this discussion in a completely different light, keeping self image in mind. Until next time, be hopeful, be happy.
Bye.